Okay, we are live. Let me begin. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to NeuroLandscape's online roundtable dedicated to World Health Day. Our theme for today is Healthy Minds, Hopeful Futures, Women's Well-Being, and Nature's Role. So here at NeuroLandscape, we bring together landscape architecture, neuroscience, and digital solutions, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to advance the knowledge on the relationship between human health and the environment, and improve the quality of life in urbanized areas. So years of research brought us to the understanding that the quality of our daily exposure to the living environment has a real impact on our mental health and well-being. We want to uncover the complex mechanisms of these phenomena and share them widely. My name is Netta Benzar, and I am a media officer and research assistant at NeuroLandscape. Tonight, I will be emceeing the wonderful discussion that we will be hearing today. But before we go there, I would like to introduce you to our speakers for tonight. First and foremost, we have our very own Dr. Agnieszka Osiewska-Guizo, who is the co-founder and CEO of NeuroLandscape. She is a landscape architect and neuroscience researcher exploring the impact of green spaces on mental health. Next, we have Erin Sharp Newton. She is an associate of the American Institute of Architecture and served as the president of the Central New Jersey brand in 2024. She is the center director and fellow of the Journal of Center for Urban Design and Mental Health. She is passionate about architecture for mental health and humanity. Fatin Abu Yibs Al-Hassakhne, I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. So she holds the position of Early Childhood Development Technical and Grant Coordinator at World Vision International. And finally, we have Ide Singer. She serves as an operations manager and behavioral scientist and founder of NatureMe, a center that specializes in green rehab and nature-supported wellness. So to begin with, I would like to read an excerpt from the World Health Organization in response to today's occasion. The health of mothers and babies is the foundation of healthy families and communities, helping ensure hopeful futures for us all. Tragically, based on currently published estimates, close to 300,000 women lose their life due to pregnancy or childbirth each year, while over 2 million babies die in their first month of life and around 2 million more are stillborn. That's roughly one preventable death every 7 seconds. Based on current trends, a staggering 4 out of 5 countries are off track to meet targets for improving maternal survival by 2030. 1 in 3 will fail to meet targets for reducing newborn deaths. Women and families everywhere need high-quality care that supports them physically and emotionally before, during, and after birth. Health systems must evolve to manage the many health issues that impact maternal and newborn health. These not only include direct obstetric complications, but also mental health conditions, non-communicable diseases, and family planning. Today, we will be focusing on the mental health aspect of this campaign. So to start off with, I would like to ask our speakers, how do you see the current state of women's mental health, particularly in relation to maternal well-being and long-term health? And in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges women are facing today in maintaining mental resilience? So who would like to start? No takers?
I'll start. I'm Erin, and it sounds like actually the question is framed in a kind of a full life span. So, starting from, childhood all the way through um, later stages. I think so. I'm just going to kind of, I think that there are, as some of the others can actually speak to the current the children, they're in the children's space. I'm in the space of mental health, obvious. And one of the things I guess I think is that it's like life stages continue to be challenges. For example, when mothers have a hard time balancing, it's the same story of balancing balancing children, childcare, working, having to kind of be, expecting to be home, but also being expected to be, or not even expected, just needing financially in the world we're in today to work for things to be sustainable fiscally in standard family. Most families aren't set up that only one person can work. So those are the pressures to kind of try to be everything. And then also the part of aging. I think women face a different challenge. They get aged out. They get kind of put away after in their 50s, for example, when they still have 20, 30 years to contribute intellectually, even longer. It could be 40. There's certainly a lot of pretty awesome 100-year 90 women in their 90s and later. So there's that. And then I think women who have disabilities or women who have um, any other kinds of challenges also face a different a different kind of thing, which we can talk about more later. Annetta, I'm sure, wouldn't mind me to talk about like what happened. We'll talk about that during nature. But, if you have a woman with a disability, you add that on top of it. Not all women can walk, and not all, for health, that walking isn't just, like for everybody. So some people can't walk. So I think it's challenges specific to age and disability. And that's what I think is a challenge. I mean, everything, but I'm specifically talking to ageism, motherhood, parenting, balancing work and life, and getting older and still staying, relevant and active and engaged.
Mm-hmm. Agnieszka, would you like to follow up on that? Thank you.
Sure. By the way, I'm very thankful to all the guests to come today and join us and share their insights. And I myself, I am a mom, not quite a young mom, because my daughter is only a little bit above 2 years old. So I do share some of the experience of the early motherhood, and I'm happy to share. But predominantly here today, I would like to listen to insight of our guests. From my side, I can tell you from just like first-hand experiences about the biggest challenge for me, and I see it also all over internet and also among the friends, is that there is no village. There is like the lack of this connection that sometimes is very essential to keep your sanity and keep the things rolling. So in today's time, whether it is because of the digital age or just disconnection, physical disconnection from logistical disconnection from the family and community, it is quite a challenge, and we are experiencing that firsthand as well. But yeah, I would like to hear your insights, Ida, Patton. Please go ahead, share your stories.
Yes, okay, I can say something about what Erin actually were talking about. I believe that the inequality actually is between men and women connected to that women have very high expectations and demands on them, and they put them themselves, and society and norms put them on them, and work put it on them, and they do have much more expectations to live with and to practice in everyday life than men. So I believe that the inequality and the high expectations is actually one of the biggest challenges. At least if I'm talking from experience with the women participating in green rehab. Um, yeah, and I also think that another big challenge that I think we're going to speak a bit more about in a bit is that we, not only women, but people in general, have lost their contact with nature. And in nature, there are so much, we can gain so much health and decrease stress and anxiety and increase our well-being, as well as actually be in and be surrounded with no demands, in contrary to when we work and when we are take responsibility for our families. So the nature is like a free zone with no demands and no expectations. So that's a place we can actually ground ourselves and be able to start to listen to ourselves and our needs and what we need and what we wishes. And I think, yeah, that's one the big challenge, and also one of the biggest opportunities for us to go forth.
Mm, I think that sets the scene very well. Thank you. Fatin, um, are you here? I think she's logged off. Can't see her. No. All right. Maybe she's just experiencing some technical difficulties. But actually, that leads us well into the next question. So I think we'll go forward, and hopefully Fatin will meet us in the next question. So research increasingly supports the benefits of nature for mental health and well-being. So how can nature-based solutions be incorporated into maternal health care, postpartum assistance, and mental health support for women? I think, Ida, since you already started discussing the importance of nature, and that is kind of the core of your work at Nature Me, would you like to just talk a little bit about your work and some of the women that you are supporting through your work?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I think green rehab is actually, it's based on research that shows that human beings actually feel well while being in nature in different ways. And green rehab actually has three legs. And the first one is for me, to give the participants with stress related diagnosis and as well anxiety and depression that are referred to me from primary care. I give them the opportunity to be in a restorative and supporting garden and nature. And we also give them the opportunity to participate in meaningful activities like nature walks and gardening. And we do create things with natural material and so forth. And the third leg is actually about creating a supportive social environment. And this together, this combination is actually the concept of green rehab. And I believe what we see, the result is that actually their health and the well-being increase after finishing or during the participation in green rehab, and but they also tend to put themselves in the front seat of the car instead of just being a passenger of their life. Because they start to convert like new insights and methods and healthy decisions in their everyday life. So I think this green rehab concept could actually easily broaden the target group, uh, both for more broaden target group about people that need rehab, but also people that is actually they need good methods to keep like a sustainable health and to work more preventative. So I do really believe that the target group for women and women pregnant women or women just gave birth is a perfect target group for this method, because in this term you can help the mother to realize and give her methods to actually feel well and get less stressed in this stressful situation that it can be to be a new mother. And also she can bring her child out to the nature and help them to actually connect to the nature. Yeah.
That's actually beautiful. This being an active participant in your own health, but also then kind of sharing that knowledge with those that come after. And so you're speaking from a Swedish context, but maybe even a pan-European. Should we go over the ocean? Erin, would you like to speak about the US context and or just in broadly, what is, how do you see nature's role within?
That one's huge. So thank you. I thank you, for, that was good. I think so. What I think is, or what I feel is that nature's role. So I have some mobility issues. I mean, I can walk and everything, but I've had a number of surgeries that did have rendered me unable to walk and given me a sort of insight into like being completely immobilized. For me, thank God it was not forever, but it was enough to, you know, it was enough to give me a taste of what it's, what that's like. Plus, I really am not like the kind of person to go jogging. And I know you had like an injury, Annetta, so you probably could relate to this, right? That, I've never really been able to run. I can certainly walk, and most people don't know that there's something up, but I could not run. So, the idea of going, there's a kind of panacea, like a go walk, go for a walk. Like this is the idea of mental health and nature, to go for a hike, to go for a walk. But it's actually, and one of the reasons, it's actually Aga's work and NeuroLandscape's work that I'm actually have the book on my lap in case we want to reference the CLM model here, because it's actually her work that has had an impact on me personally to go, I don't have to go for a walk. One of the things that keeps me very resilient is being able to just sit outside. So I'm very interested in this. Idea of the nature therapy, Nature Me, in a few capacities, like from physical recovery to mental health recovery. I think that for me, I made a little Zen garden out front, a little meditation garden, very simple, but with like, little pieces. I did the, if people who are listening don't know, the Contemplative Landscapes model book of NeuroLandscapes has a little, a little thing on the back here that goes through like the kind of key features of the landscape, that landscape elements, and Aga, correct me because I'm sure I'm going to mess it up, but that produce really positive responses in the brain, because and we know that not just on tuition, but because people are doing research with BCI and so on with brain computing and testing and so on to see how the alpha, beta, gamma waves respond. So for me, nature's role is the contemplative role. For me personally, for my own like resilience and my own like mental health management, it's actually sitting in nature, going through my senses, and creating a space where I can be contemplative, where I don't have to go, where I actually can sit, but I'm not sit in boredom, So it's neither the extreme of sort of sitting, on the mountaintop, like, although that's good too. And then on the other extreme to be like, I'm going to go for a hike and walk it off, but to be somewhere in between where I can have the mental space but the physical kind of calm. So sitting under, I have a weeping cherry. I mean, I think these are things that all people need. The problem is being director for Center for Urban Design and Mental Health, that does not exist for everyone. It's not democratized across, across like all places, all people. Not everybody can do that. Certainly go to urban environments, the green is a boring little box behind a chain link fence of some dirt. So, I think, and then women don't really want to go, that's not necessarily the right place, or to go sit at night. So I think the role of nature on women's mental health can be amazing and great, for resilience and well-being, and recovery from different things. But at the same time, I think one of the challenges is the accessibility and the safety and the security in those environments. And I always like, even though the work of NeuroLandscapes is mostly to be like analytical, I like to twist it into kind of prescriptive, and go and say, okay, I'm now looking at the monumental tree. I am now looking into the distance. Like, it's become a little bit of a meditation for me. Going through the different elements. I see the birds and the activity. Like, these are the things that had positive brain responses. So I also think that we are, on a positive note, seeing so much progress in terms of neuroscience and understanding the brain, and that all nature is not the same, and being in nature, it's always better, I think, to be in nature where possible, but to see the way to have some kind of trackable and like real knowledge about, neuroscience is really having a great impact on our understanding, and thus, ultimately sort of being prescriptive. But yesterday I went out and did watercolors, and I didn't really care what they look like. I just wanted to make myself focus on the nature in my environment. So I did two little silly, not aesthetically like anything, but just to be in that space, because I was like, I had something on my mind and I just wanted to go be calm. So I think that's, of course, nature's role is incredible if you have access to it. If you don't have access to it, then what? And then there's a whole conversation there about like the nature that, in my house, it's gray today. It's winter. I'm on the US side, I put on those things on the TV with the landscapes and the birds chirping, and, it really has impact on me, and we've done psych hospitals where we do the, just the green, films on the wall, and the, the naturescapes, like on the window films. And it really makes a difference. The brain likes that. So, I think, I don't know, that was a long answer, a little bit personal, but you know me well enough if you want me to say more.
Yeah, it's actually one of the I like your point about accessibility, and the fact that there's this push sometimes that to move through nature, to walk through nature, to run through nature, you have to be constantly moving. Like some of the parks that are designed today, there's always, you go in, you go out. There's always there's has to be some kind of activity. And actually, something I found really interesting when we visited Ida's center was this emphasis on, there's no pressure to do anything. You can just rest. You can just go outside and just sit, which makes it just so much more accessible, especially to women in very vulnerable states. They, sometimes they're not in a position where they can just go walk through nature. Or they just need to rest. And sometimes it's nice to know, I guess, for them, that you can just go and there's no pressure for you to leave, or you're not going to a place that is not, waiting on your exit. I don't know, Ida, if you want to comment on that, on this focus on like resting and giving a woman, well, any of your visitors to your center, this opportunity to just, take a deep breath and have no pressure to, do any activity, and just, relax in nature.
Yeah, I think what you're both talking about, actually, both Erin and Annette, is how you do it, how you actually decide to be or do or not do in the nature, or kind of use the nature to feel better, to listen to bird song, or to walk slowly, or just to sit, to take all, to use your senses, to actually um, explore and experience what's happening right now in this moment. It's a very good thing to be aware of what's actually happening in this second, in this minute. And you can also turn those questions inwards to yourself, like to your inner self, like, okay, probably you recognize it like from mindfulness or meditation, but you can also, be aware of um, your thoughts and your feelings, and this helps you to meet yourself, and and in the process you will learn to listen to yourself, and that's a key, and that's really a key to make a change, and to be able to um, help yourself to feel better, I believe. Anyhow, I think I was kind of lost in that question, but the how is very important. Also, how you do. I mean, we had a woman that told me, a participant that told us that her doctor recommended her to take nature walks to feel better, and so she did, and she walked the way she always did, like power walking, music in the ears, really going from point A to point B. That was, the important thing to do. And then she did that, and she went back to her doctor and said, this doesn't help me. And then she come to start the green rehab, and we start, as we were talking about, we start to experience the surroundings, the sounds, the smells, ourselves. We walk slowly to help our nervous system to be calm and to be safe, and so we don't trigger our natural stress responses. And that made the whole change for her, so she really enjoyed our nature walks. And this is actually very basic. Everyone can do it with some training, and it gives very much to the participants in green rehab, actually, just to stop doing things and just be.
I love that. Just be.
Yeah, to add on that, just to chip in, it's great, great story. Thank you for sharing the story of actual, like, people that we can actually relate to. And what I wanted to say, actually, the discovery that with nature you don't really have to do anything. There doesn't have to be any special protocol, because we already feel it. And I think especially women have this connection with the environment and with nature that is a special connection. And even science points at that. That for some reasons women always have this a little bit stronger response to their environment. They analyze and see their surrounding in a different way. It is confirmed with science, actually. And so I think, because the mechanisms are not very clear, but I do think that it must be due to some special connection, and that is already there. And maybe on the intuitive level, we are already linked with nature and able to take the most of it only when we are out there, when we kind of reconnect. It doesn't have to be, again, like any specific protocol or any specific activity or effort, or like to-do list. I really think that just uh, being out there, it's already and allowing this magic to happen is already quite enough to gain the benefits. And this is what my studies also confirm with neuroscience, that just being out there and without really doing much, is already beneficial and creates this positive pattern in the brain of people. And again, women show a higher activity of that sort. But and one more short comment about the accessibility is that unfortunately in many places the nature connection being on everyday basis is a luxury, and it's becoming more and more of a luxury, and it's almost becoming like a place to go for like when you have free time. And it shouldn't be this way. It should be something you have at your doorstep, at the back of your everyday activities. And places like, yeah, this is where I think our urban design went wrong. People just did not take it into account while designing, building our cities and neighborhoods. But yeah, places like where Ida's calling us from, because I recognize that room and that place. This is a place where you have it at the doorstep. So it's more and more of us. It's a luxury to be out there in places like this.
If I could,
Yes, go on, Erin.
no, you go ahead. I talk a lot.
I was going to move on to the next question, so if you want to add something on this one.
But I think Ida,
Well,
you were going to say something.
just a short thing. Yeah, the research that tell us that we gain benefits from nature just being out there. But my experience from green rehab is that this wouldn't happen. Actually, they wouldn't go out for the first thing. Most of them, and the women, they need like guidance to understand. Like, okay, we walk slow for a reason. We listen for a reason, and we need to practice it. It's like you have to kind of instruct them to help them to understand, okay, this is to try it out, because it's totally new for many of them. And so I think even if we gain a lot from just go outside the door and breathe the fresh air and so forth, we can get better results if we have like good guidance for the people we work with. Yeah, that was my point. Thank you.
And I would just want to throw in, because the idea of just going, I'm a very hyperactive, busy person. And I always am like, I have to do this, I have to do that. I don't have time to go sit outside. And I actually have the luxury of living with nature outside my front door and my back door, because I basically left urban environments. Like, I left urban environments and now live. That's one of the good things about where I live, is that it's really bucolic everywhere. On the other hand, I know exactly what it's like to live in a city with no green, and having to physically, wanting to get out. And so let's talk about mental health for a minute. Wanting to get out, to go, be somewhere, like to go, like, sit on a bench by a river or something like that. Those are the kind of things that are comfortable for me. And I think that I represent a part of the population, like a part of the population. I think I know a lot of people in my world who have a lot on their mind. They're stressed out. They have a lot to do. So there's return on investment for nature, but there's also like the idea of kind of trying to find people where they are, which is what I hear in the nature me, conversation from Ida. It's like finding out where people are. Like, some people cannot just go and sit and be with the nature. And the way that I deal with people, I do a lot of advocacy work or whatever, like my own anonymous work. And if I have like young women coming over here and they're very like freaked out, I have them go through their senses. I mean, because it's something somebody taught me. Okay, let's look around. And I'm not a therapist, but by any means, but let's go through all the senses. And I do that pretty regularly. Like, I'll go out, and maybe I won't go through all of them, but I it's such a little, like a simple behavior, but for grounding. Like, besides the CLM, like, what do I smell? Like, the CLM's one, like looking at 7 different, let's say, I don't know if there's 7, but 7 different things. Then going through the senses, like I smell and trying to smell like stuff. And sometimes I even walk over to a tree, and I'll have other people do this. Like, and you see how much they calm down, just getting them into their bodies. And it's also making ways to be in nature. I said this earlier, but to be busy in nature or active without being like physically active can be also very, I think, very grounding. And then just, I cannot stress enough the challenge for, there is not really a clear return on investment for putting nature in our cities. Like backing it with science, finding ways to show that a developer, if they factor in, uh, what do you call, like places to walk out, little patios, or if they factor in a roof garden, or if they factor in a courtyard, to be able, you have to show them time and money, how much money they're going to get when, how this is going to pay off for them, or they're not going to do it. And that's why our cities have ended up that way, because there was no clear return on investment. It wasn't clear, how that pays, how that, there's a return. And so there's this very invisible, I want to call, it's like invisible positive, but it's also invisible negative. That we at the Center for Urban Design and Mental Health, if you read some of our journal articles and so on, are, show the science of the lack and the science of the impact for better, for worse. So.
Yeah, one thing you also mentioned a little early on is the safety aspects. So safety in all its aspects, physical, social, emotional, spiritual, is key for mental health. So how can we create safer, more supportive environments for women, especially those in vulnerable life stages like pregnancy and motherhood?
Or walking with a walker in a city like New York.
Exactly.
Or in a wheelchair in, I don't know what, pick a town, pick a place. And where's a very super urban, like in, I want to think like, Chicago, wanting to get out of, a housing situation. They're in a wheelchair and they really could, and they're really stressed out. So, and they want to get out in their wheelchair and just go sit somewhere. So that's where I think doing the science, to all the researchers out there, for, to inspire you, doing the science that shows that improvement, improves, like has a financial return for developers, I think is really important. I mean, we're doing a whole Main Street. Actually, we had a whole redevelopment here, and there was an incorporation of a courtyard, which I'm really glad about. When I lived in Milan, there was the big park, and that was safe. But although didn't always feel perfectly safe, like at night, there was a time you were like 4 o'clock, you had to get out. But you could go and sit in a bench and watch children. The World Trades Fair in Flushing, New York, also, like, you see people of all backgrounds and places and things and ages and so on, having those kind of places. But yeah, so I'm just gonna stop right there because I think you had another question anyway.
Anita, I think I got a message from Falcon that she's somewhere in the background. She's with us, but she can hear and see us, but she sent me a screenshot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Check. Not sure how this works.
Yeah, I mean, I can see her, but I don't know why she can't participate.
I see somebody saying, I currently researching, it's Fee Brown. Yeah. I'm currently researching Scandinavian countries, how Scandinavian countries use gardens and green space for mental health and well-being. I went to Grona Rehab last week, particularly for informal carers. This is really interesting.
I thought maybe Ida, do you want to comment on the safety aspect?
Yeah, sure. Yes, I think, I believe that what we're trying to do here in Green Rehab, and I think that's a good thing for everyone. And anyhow, since you say that safety is actually one key to have good mental health. But what we can see that we have a timeline in Green Rehab that we start with making as much as possible safe for the participants. And when they feel safe, they can relax and they can start to recover. Not before that. After a while, we can see this process that they actually start to listen to themselves and their needs and their wishes, and they kind of get empowered, or how do you say in English, like new oriented. They get like a new map. They find the new map to do things, and hopefully will end up like with a better health. So the safe thing, the first thing is that we actually uh, we ask them to be themselves. And this is actually, as I understand, very difficult for many people. We have participants that actually told us they never reflected over when they feel safe. They never shared feelings with anyone or health issues with anyone. They never been with friends without makeup, or they never cried around people. And they have so much like locked up in them because they didn't show the real themselves to other people. So in that way, they actually haven't been themselves as they are. And
Hmm.
um, so this is what we actually do. We ask them to be themselves, to feel what they feel, to act on their needs, and so on. That's a very important thing for us to make them feel like this is safe social environment. And as we were actually speaking about before, no, and another key to success kind of around here is that the concept of green rehab doesn't include any demands. So we were speaking about it before, but this is really important. So we try to give them the opportunity to 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 actually live or experience something that we adult people seldom do experience, namely an environment that is free from demands. So this is very difficult for people arriving to green rehab. Um, but they do, and they don't trust me. It's like, what is this? Not like, so it's not me going on practice, no. So it's not me doing like job training, no, it's not job training. Green rehab is actually, there's no demands. We do have a program and everything is very well thought, but you don't need to participate. You our biggest hope is that you actually can act on your needs. So if you need to take a pause, if you need to take a rest, if you need to be by yourself, whatever you need, just do it, because this is your time and this is your focus. This is your possibility to focus on yourself and to find your own answers. So this is actually very much important. And another one thing. Oh, there's Fatan. Hello.
Yeah,
Another thing
can
is
you hear me?
actually, I wanted to say one more thing. It's actually we create like a safe outdoor space by having a garden that we now know is supporting actually the participants' recovery and well-being. So that's a safe spot for them. Um, since research shows that we can shape and create gardens and parks in ways that support well-being, that's very good news, and I'm very happy to be able to give this opportunities to our participants. And I believe it's not this is not only for my target group of people with stress related or psychological and health diagnosis, but also for us all. I mean, if you're a child or if you're a mother, you need uh, safe outdoor spaces as well. Yeah.
I have a quick thing on that. So I have done a lot of work, architecture for mental health in so psych hospitals, rehab, like drug and alcohol spaces, outpatient clinics, and then Annetta, like we talked about the project that I worked on in another firm for an eating disorder unit where I was, pushing for a like a game changing environment. And in the US especially, hospitals have to be completely in healthcare environments. So it's kind of like curious, right? It's a healthcare environment, and it cannot have plants in it, and it cannot have nature, it cannot have trees, it cannot have these things. And then, again, going back to this sort of thing about, the power of roof gardens. Like we read the research for healthcare institutions and similar that have, invested in creating roof gardens, and it's very, very impactful also on the bottom line and so on. But the idea, what I want to say is there are tools, not to be like the unnature person or the like cyber person, but there are tools for those who have to be kept inside. And I think really the power of bringing nature indoors in a variety of ways. And there's all the micro breaks, the 6 minutes, like the just sitting on a stoop for 6 minutes, like people do the research and fact check me on that. But, the micro breaks of the 6 minute breaks of going and sitting, like right now I'm looking out a window. It's not a big window, it's not a fancy window, but it does have a view. And there are a lot of other things that can be done therapeutically. So coming back to, if I have a TV, it is much better for me to go to YouTube and look for like healing landscape meditation videos. And sometimes I even turn the volume down. Sometimes I play the birds, but to put those in our like in the psych units and so on, to have TVs going where you can sit and meditate, looking at the nature. Of course, it's not the same as getting that, what do you call it? Getting the air and the photos, and being in tune with the photosynthesis that's happening like right there by your body. Of course, that's better, but to be able to have the plants and to be able to have, I'm trying to think of like there are other things, but just having plants, the music, the TVs, not on the news, not on the news channel, on something meditative in nature, that it does have it does have impact. It does have positive impact. And again, always think about the people who are isolated in the city, who can't get out, or what have you. Or I see Fatinabu is back, so maybe she has
Yes.
a different. She caught the end of the conversation. Maybe I'm gonna just sort of
Yeah,
be
we
quiet.
need to hear from you because apparently you were hearing us, so you have to comment on everything now. Chat.
Actually, I like the way that you work with mothers and the how to connect with nature, and it is the same thing in our culture. As World Vision, we work with pregnant mothers and mothers who have children under 3, and as you know, mental health. For these women are very sensitive, critical. They suffer a lot because it's some period difficult for women in Palestine. Here we the women have a challenge that to share their feeling because they are afraid to be stigma that they have psychological issues or they are mentally sick, so they don't share their feeling with others. We worked with them in order to how to, first of all, they need to realize themselves as a mothers, um, see how they can, um, let's say that they should, يعني, as a mother, she know herself that today I'm happy, today I'm not happy. If you have these feelings, you have to look to yourself and to seek for help. Seek for help is very simple because in Palestine we are a very conservative community. We have gender issues, and we have the large family that the mother should take care of everything. She should take care of herself, of her children, of her husband, of her big family, and she don't have the time to listen to herself. So we encourage her to take at least 10 minutes every day to take care of herself, and in this time to connect with the nature. For example, in the morning, in the early morning, where while the children are sleeping, while the everyone is on sleep, she can go out and look to the nature and have a deep breath. You know, deep breath can help her to have some relaxing. Sometimes looking for people who can listen to her. She trusts, friend, sister, a mother-in-law, and etc. These things can help her. And the most important thing that we found that it worked with mothers is to do, a group session for mothers from the same mothers who have the same circumstances, the same things, and go out to have healthy food, healthy breakfast, healthy lunch together, and to share their feeling. And in, for example, they can, while their children in school, while they can take this half an hour or 1 hour to go out for in the nature. If the culture, is this suitably in the culture. We have some communities that it is acceptable, while other communities they it's not acceptable for mother to go out to sit in public or etc. So for the mother who can go out, they can go to the nature to have healthy food and chatting with each other, sharing their good practices and um, how they treat themselves while they have stress or bad feeling. Um, um, Also, we work a lot with mothers on to do exercise. Sometimes walking in the nature. In Palestine, we have a lot of the weather is very beautiful, and so they can go early morning or late in the night to go out and walk. And it work with mothers and the mothers, because most of the communities are relatives, so they can go to visit each other. So don't use car, you go by walk. Don't use car, don't use because walk can help you to stress you and to release your stress and to feel good as a mother. This is
What
I
about safety? If I can chip in, because we were talking about safety in different dimensions, but probably in Palestine it has completely different dimension culturally. How is it like walking alone? Do women walk alone, or they have to always go in groups or some sort of company? How does that work?
um, in Bedouin area, it's difficult to go out, walk, and etc. But in other communities, yes, they can go walk um, inside their communities, because in Palestine we have different challenges to go out, safety because of the political situation. To go between villages, between cities, it's very dangerous and not difficult. But inside the the community, and let's say walking around your house. Most of women, they can walk around their house. They walk on the roof of their house like this, and not going out for a long distance. It's not acceptable in most of the communities that we are working. So when we talking to mother to go out and walk, to connect with night, with culture, with nature, we talk about walking around the house, walking to go to visit her sister, which is 1 kilometer or 500 meters to go there. And sometimes they walk from their house to her house sister, or on the opposites. These things, it's something acceptable to go to visit your sister and walk with your sister or walk with your husband. Sometimes they walk with their husbands. For when I don't feel that when I feel that I have physical issues a pain in my neck, pain in my back, I take my husband and go walking. And while we walking, we talk, we chat, we do a lot of breathing, standing in some places and breathing. But we use the roads that they don't have, yani, that there is not a lot of people. Yani, we use the lands where there is no building, where there is no people, just walking on the nature. And we have a lot of women who doing like this, because it's not acceptable to go out and walk while we don't have, yani, but in some communities, yeah, it's acceptable. We have a lot of women who have exercising. They take a walk in order to exercise, to make their physical issue, physical body is better health, because we don't move a lot. The only things that women do in our country is that working in the house, cleaning, cooking, and taking care of the children. And most of women here, they have um, um, يعني body problems like neck, muscles, and sometimes knees problems. So we encourage them to walk and to listen to their body. When we told them, when you have these issues, it means that you need to connect with the nature. You need to walk, to go out to walk. You don't have to go a very far distance, or a, for a gym. You can walk and connect with the nature, see the beautiful places, sometimes imagine, have music, read some, listen to Quran. We in Muslim issues, they like to listen to Quran, a holy book for Muslims. So they listen to the Quran while they are walking, or listening to music, or listen to their bodies, and sometimes singing. We told the mother, when you go out, there is you can sing together. And they do the Palestinian traditional songs. And they said most of the time that we come back from the group session, that is in the nature, or when, yani, we feel that it's the time for us, and we would like to make it again and again and again.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I think we're now coming to the end of our session, and so I just want to finish up with one last question. So, if you could share one message about mental health and nature-based solutions with the women of our communities and the policymakers who are responsible for the support of their mental well-being, what would it be?
Listen to your body.
Start from
First
where
of
you
all,
are.
There you go.
It's hard to choose one. I have
Yeah,
lots of messages for especially policymakers.
letters of complaint.
Ah, yeah. I'd say, well, for the individual, it's start where you are. For those, I think resilience, it's a lifelong journey. And, you're going to change. People are going to change, and the needs and what, like I said, for policies, be an advocate. If you can't be an advocate out loud, because you're going to get, to go like public or, fight for a thing, that's fine. But, find a way to be an advocate, for integrating, for upping, the ante for making nature accessible for all. Find your, like, you don't have to like do it all and save the world, but start from where you are. So then in summary, it would be start from where you are for your own resilience, and help other people to start from where they are for their well-being, and then start from where you are for advocating, whether it's grassroots or a global, wherever you are, whether it's policy, whether it's a practitioner, whether it's research. Like if it's research and you're not getting funded, do it anyway.
Oh no. Yeah.
I
So
think I have
It's a-
something to policymaker, is that they need to invest more in the mental health for mothers, because a healthy mother is a healthy family. When we have healthy mother, we have healthy family. We have healthy a community. We have healthy country. So in Palestine, they should invest in the mental health of mothers. In Palestine, the investment is very limited. They don't take it in seriously, and I think they should start thinking on this issue, especially in the vulnerable area, in the remote area, in Area C, where is there is absence of all services that can help mother. So they need to work on this because while we have healthy minds or healthy mothers, we have healthy community.
Yes.
And I agree with the Fatan here actually, because I think to enable, or from a Swedish perspective, I think that to enable nature-based interventions, um, there needs to be a political will for sure, and we also need like national guidelines that recommend nature-based interventions. And for if there is anyone out there that don't know, I would like to tell you that nature-based interventions can change lives. So we need to take this seriously.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I feel we could talk more.
Yeah, I feel like
For
we
sure.
could,
Yeah.
but I think we will end here. Thank you all so much for sharing and for
Thank you.
giving us this hour of your time. Yeah, uh, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you from NeuroLandscape. And yeah, we are just so grateful to have people like you with such a compassionate heart and a drive to improve people's lives and really make an impact in your own communities, in your however small and however large. So thank you for just being you and for all the work that you are doing for the mission of and pushing forward nature-based solutions in your communities and I guess across the world. Thank you for coming on, and yeah, have a lovely evening, have a lovely day, have a lovely morning. Yeah,
Thank
I will
Thank
end.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Good
Bye bye.
job.